Deja, thank you. February is Black History Month, and all month long on 41 Action News, we're highlighting the importance of Black culture and history in the Kansas City area. New this morning, a Kansas City woman is sharing her unique ties to a former hospital that once employed only African-American doctors, nurses, and administrators.
And the building still stands more than a century after it first opened. Here's 41 traffic anchor Deja Jones.
Healthcare for African Americans has deep ties to Kansas City. One of the first Black-owned and operated hospitals in the country still stands in the 18th and Vine district. It was known as the Wheatley-Provident Hospital. Dr. John Edward Perry founded the hospital, which operated from 1916 until 1972. Erica Bryce is a co-owner of the now vacant building.
As far as we know, this is the first hospital in the country to have all African American doctors, nurses, and administrators. There are people around that were born in this hospital.
One of those is 82-year-old Marceline Cooley. She was born at Wheatley in 1938.
The fact that I was born there, that I know, it's on my birth certificate and everything. So many people don't even know the history. That was the only Black hospital that Blacks could go to and actually work in the hospital.
Cooley's grandmother worked for Dr. Perry.
My grandmother worked for him as his housekeeper, and she stayed in the home, you know, with him, and so she was a full-time housekeeper and cook or whatever you call it. She did everything. And my mother worked 6 days a week, and so therefore my grandmother took the responsibility of caring for us as much as she could. And so we spent many days and weekends at Dr. Perry's house on 24th and Montgall.
Cooley has fond memories of the hospital.
One of the things that always has stood out in my mind when I was 5 years old, my sister and I both had our tonsils pulled. And of course it was at Wheatley Hospital, and Dr. Perry being our family doctor, he was the one who performed the surgery. And only thing I can remember was that it was so much fun being there because we had milkshakes every day, you know, because our throats were very sore, and we thought that was a big deal.
The hospital closed in 1972.
I had read in the paper that they were going to tear down the hospital because they didn't have the funding to keep it, and I had expressed my feelings about that because it's really a part of our history, and I hated to see it be torn down.
Bryce hopes to redevelop the building, possibly turning it into office space. Fortunately, it's now listed on the National Register of Historic Places.
The importance of saving the legacy of the Black community history, you know, we as Blacks have to take it upon ourselves to make sure that we preserve the remains of our history, because otherwise it's going to be lost.
In Kansas City, Deja Jones, 41 Action News.
Wow, what an amazing story. Now, several months ago, as part of Deja's One Tank Trip series, she also reported on Wheatley's ties to the African American Heritage Trail. You can learn more about that within our story at kshb.com. Just click on Black History Month tab at the top of our homepage. Deja, how powerful was that?
It was absolutely amazing to be able to chat with her and, you know, really just connect with her. And, you know, she's absolutely stunning, right? I'm looking at this woman and I'm like, you are 82 years young, honey. You look great. And, you know, she's talking about being born in Kansas City. She's talking to me about, you know, the progress that Kansas City has made, not just with healthcare, but with a lot of African-American history. And so she was really happy that Erica Bryce and her partners were able to purchase the building and that they're going to be able to restore it. They're working really hard to turn it into something functional, and they want it to still be something for the African American community because, again, it is in, you know, the 18th and Vine district, and so it's still an important part, and they want, you know, people to know that that was one of the very first Black-owned and operated hospitals in the country, which is just absolutely amazing.
And because everybody should know that history.
Yeah.
To think that you could drive by and not know all the life moments that happen there for so many people.
For sure.
Important to preserve. Great story, Deja. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.